Mm-hmm. You cannot be serious. You're telling me for the past hour I've been live, no sound was being picked up again? What the hell? An hour! An hour passed without any sound being picked up. I'm not even using a mic this time. What? Again? No mic. I didn't have a mic plugged in this time. So there should be no problems with any audio being picked up. What the fuck? For God's sake, I said so much in that muted hour as well. You know what? I can't wait for this hunt to be over. The sooner this hunt is over, the sooner that this method of streaming is gone. And I don't have to worry about if audio is being picked up or not. Man, I said so much. I said so much in that hour as well. I'm not gonna lie, I'm tempted to turn this off and just call it for tonight, because, like, now I'm not even in the mood to continue. Yep, I'm checking the footage. No audio was picked up. None whatsoever. So everything I said in that 1 hour, it's gone. Man, I said so much, too. What pisses me off the most is that I didn't even have a mic. Don't you usually check your streams? Well, I figured that because I used a mic when I first started this, it's like, well, you know, you plug in the mic, the settings change, fine. Maybe something messed up and the audio wasn't being picked up, fine. I figured if I were to do this without a mic, nothing would change. It would just automatically pick up the audio. There shouldn't be anything to worry about. I guess not. Man, I swear to God, I'm so tempted to just call it for tonight. Now my night is ruined. I said so much in that hour as well. See, the downside. There is an upside to nobody watching me. I can do and say whatever I want and nobody would criticize me. The downside is, well, if there's any problems, nobody lets me know. So it doesn't matter if I do or say whatever I want if it won't even be picked up. I guess I just gotta start all over, talk about everything once again. So, I first started talking about a quick little story about something that happened last night. Last night, as I was going to bed, because I sleep in the pitch black darkness, I don't sleep with the nightlight. Because I sleep in complete darkness, as I was going to bed, I saw a light. I saw a quick flash of light from inside my blanket. And I was thinking, what is that? Did my phone somehow get caught up in the blanket somehow? I reached over to my side. No, my phone is still where it is. I'm thinking, like, what was that light? What was that light in my blanket sheet? No, it was not a firefly. I've never seen a real-life firefly. So, you know, I kept on, like, shaking my blanket, trying to see what object there was. Maybe it would fall off. I kept thinking, like, what object is in my blanket? Could it maybe be a piece of metal that is reflecting light? Like the zipper to the blanket casing? Could it be like that? Like, what's in here? And then it clicked. It hit me what the light was. The light I was seeing coming from inside my blanket was static electricity. That's why every time I was shaking my blanket, it wouldn't always have a light. It would only periodically, very quickly flash a light from inside my blanket. It was static electricity being built up from the actual blanket itself and the blanket casing. So then, I started to get scared. I'm thinking like, man, if I'm asleep and I'm shuffling back and forth, will the static electricity start a fire? I set a blaze while halfway asleep in the night. Because if the static electricity causes electricity bright enough for me to see a literal flash of light from inside my blanket, who's to say that I'm tossing and turning in the middle of the night, the friction won't cause electricity to spark, and then I catch on fire? Man, now I'm terrified. Am I just gonna randomly combust to flames in the middle of the night? Oh, I'm so disappointed. None of that audio was picked up. Man, I said other small things too. Like how earlier today I was getting ready to evolve that shiny Feebas of mine. I was about to send it to my shield copy and evolve it there with the prism scale. But then earlier today, as I was deciding to do so, well, I can't. Because Pokemon Home is under maintenance. The one time I decide, alright, let's evolve this thing real quick, I can't. Of course, I've wanted to evolve it previously, however, I just didn't want to take time away from hunting the Magikarp. Do I really want to talk about From again, or should I save it? But like, well, it's gonna be even more of a... It's gonna feel even worse next time I talk about the episode. It's like, alright, let me repeat everything I said last time because it wasn't picked up. So do I just... I guess I just have no choice. I gotta repeat everything I said about From again. It's not the first time I had to repeat everything I said because audio wasn't being picked up. I know it's no fault of the show, but like, god damn it, From! Every time with the show, it finds a way to disappoint me. So, do I talk about From or Invincible? Technically, you didn't even hear me talk about From. You know, I could say, like, I already talked about From, let's talk about Invincible, but technically, you didn't even hear it. It wasn't even picked up. Part of me is not even in the mood to talk anymore tonight. Well, I suppose I have no choice. Let's talk about From again. Though it's the first time you're hearing me talk about it since you didn't hear anything for the past hour. Okay, so from episode 2, season 9. Nothing wrong with what I just said. So, one quick detail I forgot to mention about the last episode. So, like the very end of the episode. I'm so mad I have to say everything again. So, at the end of the last episode, it was outside of the diner. We were with Boyd, Kenny, Julie, Ethan. They heard the cicadas. And then this guy comes out of the house that's right next to the diner, covered in blood, screaming for help. So, you know, I forgot to mention that scene from the last episode. I'm really not in the mood to talk about all of this again. So the episode opens up with our characters going to investigate what happened there. So Boyd and Kenny, they go into the house. They go into the house to see what happened, and this random guy we've never seen before, his name is Reggie, not Reggie Fils-Aimé. So Reggie, covered in blood and crying for help, they go to see what happened, and they see, I'm assuming, his girlfriend. The fact that she died pretty horribly in her sleep. Her jaw has been dislocated, her abdomen has been completely torn open, her leg has been snapped. And supposedly this happened to her in her sleep. Reggie heard her talking in her sleep, screaming in her sleep, so he tried to wake her up, and then all that stuff just happened. Once again, they did not show, rather they tell. You know what I'm trying to say. Okay, so now they're beginning to piece together something's going on with people's dreams. Kenny was hurt in his dream, and then he was hurt in real life. Elgin, same thing, and now this. So they're beginning to piece together something's going on in everyone's dreams. It's like Nightmare on Elm Street. So, Boyd asks for Kenny's and Julie's help to spread the word. Let everyone know, first of all, not to panic, the fact that something's going on with everyone's sleep, so nobody can sleep tonight. Everyone needs to partner up to be safe. So if one person falls asleep, the partner can wake them up. So now it's dangerous to sleep. Julie lets Boyd know that her dad, Jim, doesn't know this, and he's out at the RV. So Boyd goes over to let Jim know and see what's going on there. So over at the RV, I gotta talk about all this stuff again, I'm so disappointed. Over at the RV, you know, remember from the last episode, Randall has Donna tied up. Jim, he doesn't like where this is going, you know? Jim never intended for it to play out like this, so, you know, Jim tries to untie Donna, but then Randall says no, pulls a knife on him. Boyd shows up with a gun, so, you know, gun one-ups a knife, forcing Randall to comply. Can you do a quick summary? Just wanted to discuss Invincible right now. No, fuck you. You put me onto this show. God damn it. I'm gonna break this episode down, god damn it. Even if I already have tonight. But you and nobody else will ever hear that breakdown. Because technology, you just gotta love it sometimes. So, okay, so Boyd... So Boyd tells everyone that they have like 5 minutes before it turns dark, so they need to get back to town. So Randall's just like, oh, you mean with these keys right here? The keys to start the car? He throws it into the woods. Dumbass. However, I feel like they had time. They have a general idea of the direction Randall threw the keys at. So, they probably had time to just really quick, one trip, run into the woods, take a look around, can't find it, now let's go into the RV. You probably had time to do just one quick glance, look around to find the keys, instead of immediately be like, alright, he threw the keys in the woods, it's gone, we have no choice but to go into the RV for the night. Man, y'all had time. Y'all had time to do one sweep. And if you really couldn't find the keys, well, then hop in that RV. Okay. So, I'm gonna talk about one storyline at a time. So, in the RV, you know, Randall is very suspicious about Donna and Boyd, and now even Jim as well. The two of them have had enough of Randall's shit. Boyd handcuffs Randall. And then they start devising a plan. So we see Boyd, coating the bullets in the bile, and coating is a very generous term because he literally just puts 1 drop of bile on each bullet, as if the bile wasn't going to fly off immediately due to the high velocity as it's moving in the air. As if that 1 drop isn't just going to fly off the bullet. So, coating the bullet is a very generous term. I would say more like he laced the bullets, but even that's quite generous also. So then, because they're tired of Randall's shit, and they're just like, hey, why don't you let him do it? Let him test it out. Send him out there with the gun and see if it'll work, since he's so brave and he thinks he knows what's going on. And I'm thinking that's a terrible idea. Because if you let him go, well, you're about to give the guy access to a fully loaded gun. Who knows what he'll do? So Donna and Jim looking out of the window, they notice that the monster's approaching. They just stopped. They stopped and they circled around the RV, just standing there and smiling, which we've never seen them do before. Well, before the next thing that happened, Boyd is like, alright, you want to do it? Go ahead, now's the time to decide, as the monsters close in. Boyd's trying to hand the gun to Randall, but even I was thinking, like, didn't you handcuff him? What are you doing handing him the gun for? And then Randall even lifts his arms like, you handcuffed me, genius. It's like, Boyd, you dumbass, you forgot you handcuffed the man? What the hell are you doing handing him a gun when you yourself handcuffed him? Anyway, so the monsters are standing there menacingly. They're just surrounding the RV. And then the music starts playing again. The music from that little ballerina music box, that starts playing again. Only this time, the music box itself didn't physically spawn in out of nowhere. The music was playing from the broken radio that Jim took back and put into his RV. Which, shouldn't be possible because that thing is broken. So the music's playing, and then they hear banging sounds from under the RV, which really makes no sense. Really makes no sense because, even Jim points out there's no space down there. There's no space between RV and floor. There's no space for anything to be underneath there to make any sort of banging noises. And I'll be honest with you guys, I really don't think the story's ever gonna bring that back up. I really don't think so. I feel like this was just a one-off little scary moment to, frighten us. But I don't think they're ever gonna mention this again. I don't think Jim is ever gonna mention to Boyd or Donna again, hey, what do you think that banging noise was coming from under the RV? I don't think they're ever gonna mention it again. I don't think anyone will ever bring it back up. It's just a one-off thing that they really just didn't think about. So I'd be shocked if they actually do bring it up. Like, hey, what was that banging noise coming from underneath the RV where there was no space? So anyways, the monsters are circling the RV, the music's playing, there's banging noises coming from under the floor. So Randall says, fuck this, and he breaks the window and runs away. Which, now that's pretty bad. Now that puts everyone else on a timer. Now that the window's broken, it doesn't matter if there's a talisman up. The monsters can just flood in. So they need to leave. Jim and Donna, they rush back over to the car, while Boyd covers them by firing the bile-laced bullets at the monsters. At the moment, we don't see if that does anything to the monsters. Maybe in the next episode or next season, we'll see a couple of dead monster corpses on the floor. But for now, we don't see any sort of aftermath from the bile-laced bullets. Well, Boyd hears a voice, he turns around, and inside the RV, he sees his wife. And of course she's not there, so it's a pretty pointless scene. So then Boyd runs back to the car and they drive back to town. And you know, at this moment I was thinking like, wait a second, I thought Randall, he threw the car keys away. How did they start up the car to drive back to town? The only explanation I could think of was if Boyd drove another car over from the sheriff's office to the RV. So he drove another car over to find Jim. Because, you know, perhaps he walked over. But if he did, then there's no second car. And if there is no second car, there's only one car, of which the car keys were thrown away. So how did they start the car? I'm just gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say Boyd drove another car over. Which, if he didn't, then, like, what the hell? You writers forgot instantly what you had the characters do. That is, throw away the car keys. So you could not have started the car without the car keys. Unless these guys were able to hotwire it very quickly. You know, on a little side note, this episode finally gave us an aerial shot. You know, filming the episode, they gave us a drone shot of what this town looks like high up. So we finally get to see just how far away the small little town is from Colony House. I mean, it's not too far, you can definitely walk between the two spots, but like, if you ever need to go back and forth in the middle of the night without a car, you're dead. Like, if it's nighttime with monsters roaming, you need a vehicle to drive from Colony House to the clinic, to the sheriff's office, to wherever in the town. It is walking distance, however, not when it's nighttime and there are monsters. So it is a fair distance away, especially given the situation. And also the fact that Randall ran into the woods, dumbass. He gets swarmed by the cicadas, and then the cicadas completely are all over him, and then they start crawling into his mouth. It reminded me of that one scene in Indiana Jones with the ants. So over at Colony House, that one guy, Reggie, he was brought over to, you know, warn everyone not to sleep. And everyone's wondering, too. Everyone's wondering, how long can we not sleep for? Because the human body kind of needs sleep. You know, the human body can't go forever without sleep. So because Christy and Marielle are there, they ask for a private room so that Marielle can deal with her withdrawals. She gets brought over to this one room with a bed that has shackles and restraints. And Marielle rightfully assumes, like, is this the kinky sex room? No, it's the room. It's the room where, you know, new people, they show up to town. They don't take the news very lightly, so they need to be restrained. And I guess that kind of makes sense. Wouldn't surprise me if some people actually use that room for some kinky stuff as well. So Marielle is having a pretty hard time with her withdrawals. You know, Christy cannot leave this girl alone for a second, because the moment she did, Marielle started seeing things, she starts going crazy. So she voluntarily restrains herself onto the bed, which, like, poor mistake that was. Because the moment she did, and then Christy left to get her a drink, she too saw the cicadas crawl in from the windows, and then they started crawling up all over her and into her mouth. When Christy came back, she saw nothing. The cicadas were invisible to her, but they definitely happened to Marielle. Well, by this time, Boyd, Donna, and Jim, they came back to Colony House. Jim tries to do something stupid after all this time. He tries to leave Colony House at the middle of the night to go back to his kids. Like, dumbass, you should know that's not gonna work. At this point, you should know very well you cannot do that. Well, Christy cries for help because something's going on with Marielle. Her eyes go white. They go white, dormant, lifeless. But she's still alive. She's still breathing. So something's going on with Marielle. We'll have to find out in the next episode. So that old lady who was on the bus was knitting with Elgin. Fatima walks by, and the lady is able to tell that she's pregnant. She's able to tell Fatima's pregnant. And it's that news. The news of Fatima being pregnant jogs Elgin's memory of what dream he had. Why did that work? Given what we know he dreamt of? I don't know. Whatever, so Elgin finally reveals what dream he had. Now, you know, I'm not going to hold it against him for forgetting such a pivotal dream, since he would not know he was going to be trapped at a place like this. And also, don't you just hate it whenever you dream something, you wake up and you also forget it? Isn't that so infuriating? So Elgin finally reveals his dream. So on the bus ride to here, he dreamt that a little boy in white, who we've seen before, but not in this season. We surprisingly have not seen him this season at all. He dreamt a little boy in I almost said right. A little boy in white warned him something about a nursery rhyme, something like, "They come for the three unless you can stop the melody," something like that. And then the bus driver lady who was just standing next to him remembers that's a nursery rhyme that her grandmother told her. So now I'm thinking, is that a nursery rhyme that exists in real life? Or is it just something they made up for the show? I would actually like it better if it really was an actual real life nursery rhyme, because then the show just put a dark twist to it. I would prefer it that way rather than if they were to make up something for the show. Okay, so the nursery rhyme, "They come for the three unless you can stop the melody." We know exactly what melody they're talking about, that stupid music box, and that, you know, godforsaken tune that plays every time throughout the season. But who are the three? So far, you know, we've seen cockroaches crawl into Randall's mouth, Marielle's mouth. Who's the third? We'll get back to that in a moment. But first we have two other smaller storylines. Because everyone needs to buddy up so that nobody sleeps. It's cicadas? What did I say? Oh, not cockroaches? Whoops. But yeah, you know what I mean. The cicadas crawled into two of their mouths. Who's the third? Get back to that in a moment. So because everyone needs to buddy up, since it's not safe to sleep, well, what about Sarah? Kenny gets put into the position of watching over Sarah, so the two of them are paired up. What a terrible pairing. And, well, throughout it, Sarah just cannot read the room and just shut up. Even I was thinking, like, Sarah, shut up. The amount of stuff you're saying is not helping you. Blah, blah, blah. Eventually, Kenny had enough of her yapping. Kenny's just like, because Sarah is feeling so down about herself, and Kenny knows it, Kenny's just like, do whatever you want. If you truly want, Boyd keeps a spare gun in his cabinet. And then Kenny ragefully walks out. A little bit later, Kenny comes back and sees Sarah now with a revolver and all the bullets out. And she volunteers to play Russian roulette. Am I watching Squid Game Season 2, Episode 1 with the recruiter again? Sarah's just like, let's let this place decide. Decide for me. Should I use 1 bullet? 2 bullets? Yes, let's do 2 bullets. She puts in 2 bullets, spins the barrel, and then, you know, plays the roulette. Kenny doesn't want this. Kenny doesn't want her to die. Not this way. So, you know, after the shot is a dud, he takes the gun from her. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Over at the Liu house, you know, Kenny's mom opened her doors to welcome the Matthews family. Jade's there, and for some reason Victor's there this time as well. You know, because nobody can sleep, they decide to pass the time, try to have some fun. Kenny's mom brings up a board game. However, Ethan, you know, he's growing up. He's growing up. He's piecing things together. He's thinking more on his own. And he, you know, he says things and then he's upset and then he walks away. Cool, anyways. So Tabitha and Jade, they're looking through the pictures that were drawn by Victor's sister, trying to piece it together. Victor said that his mother tried to save the kids from the tower. And she believed if she did that, they would get to be free and go home. So Tabitha begins to piece together, what about the decrepit kids I've been seeing? What if they weren't trying to harm me or scare me? What if they were just asking for my help? Okay, so they now have a plan. There's kids trapped in some sort of tower. We just gotta save them, and then, assumably, we're free to go home. Only thing is, what tower? Now, if you pay attention to the picture, you know what that tower kind of looks like? A lighthouse. Where have we seen a lighthouse in this show? The Season 1 finale. However, Tabitha and Jade, they don't know that. Boyd and Sarah, they don't know about this plan. And I highly doubt they told anyone about the lighthouse. Unless they did and they told them off screen, which there's a very good chance that Boyd did, because Boyd talked to Ellis and told him everything. So there's a good chance Boyd told Ellis he saw a lighthouse out there with Sarah. Completely off screen. There's a very good chance he said that. But anyways, so now they devise a plan, you know, they're thinking about this. And one would think, now I'm gonna give them the pass on this, because I can understand this wouldn't be something they would immediately think of. One would think that, wouldn't the people of this town just collectively put everything together? And what I mean by that is like, okay, one person claims he's starting to see things that aren't there, chalk him up as crazy. A second person claims the same thing. Alright, this place is crazy, it's making people go insane. Several people are reporting, hey, we're all seeing things that aren't actually there. It's like, okay, maybe there's a pattern here. And then assuming you are Boyd, you yourself see things all the time, wouldn't you think that you would gather everyone, and I mean everyone, and be like, alright folks, there are some citizens here, some people here claiming that they see things, and it's too much to be simply a coincidence or chalk it up to everyone's just going crazy. Every piece of information we learn counts. So, if you see something out of the ordinary, if you learn something new, let us know. Let us know. Everything we learn together, everything helps. So if only they did something like that. If they did, Boyd would have told everyone about that lighthouse. Tabitha would tell everyone there's kids in a tower we need to save. Tabitha would have showed Boyd the picture. Boyd would have been like, wait, this looks like a lighthouse. I've seen a lighthouse already. It's like, if only they would have done that. Come as a community and gather all that they've learned. Then, you know, if this really is the final, you know, the final thing they need to do before they get to go home, the show will be over in like 3 episodes. Oh, and anyways, so after they made this discovery, they start hearing some sort of screaming in the other room. They go to the next room and they see Julie spazzing out on the floor. She sees the cockroaches. Oh my god, not the cockroaches. She sees the cicadas. She feels them going into her mouth. Pause. However, no one else sees it. So now we know the 3. The 3 are Randall, Marielle, and Julie. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I forgot about this episode? You know, I will say this. It's pretty obvious that seasons 1 and 2 were filmed back to back. If not back to back, then season 2 was filmed relatively soon after season 1. The biggest evidence to point this out is Ethan. The little kid actor who plays Ethan, he barely aged between seasons 1 and 2. So, you know, to take full advantage of him before he grows up, film 2 seasons back to back. And you can kind of tell, you know, with majority of the show taking place in quote-unquote 1 season, and then relatively soon in this season, the leaves are changing colors, the leaves are falling off the trees. Ethan really has not aged at all since season 1, which I checked earlier too. Season 2 came out like a year and 2 months after season 1 did, and then season 3 came out like a year and a half after season 2. So it's pretty clear they filmed seasons 1 and 2 damn near back to back. To my surprise, the little boy in white, he didn't show up really at all in season 2. So, you know, season 3, we'll have to see just how far apart season 3 was filmed. Because for a show kind of like this, you know, the way season 1 was written, they would not have done certain writing decisions that they did if they did not know they were going to get another season. So they start planting questions in one season that will be answered over time in the next season. You know, it's different from shows that go season to season, not knowing if they'll be renewed for another season. So a lot of questions that they bring up in the season need to be answered before the season's over. How many times did I just say season? But a show like this, where, you know, they probably knew they were guaranteed a season 2, they wrote it so where they put in some questions in season 1 that would not be answered until season 2. So yeah, it's pretty obvious seasons 1 and 2 filmed back to back. Did I not bring water in here? No, I didn't. Give me a second, I need to go get some water. Well, I just left to get some water and I saw that my dog peed in the house. Whoops. Elderly bladders, am I right? So did I miss anything from the episode, or... I didn't break it down as thoroughly as I did the first time. This time I kind of just sped ran through the breakdown. Ugh. I swear, why does it feel like I forgot to mention something about the episode? I'm trying to think, was there something I missed? Anyway, so this being episode 9 of season 2, that means there's one episode left before the season's over. Yeah, they have a lot of questions to answer, and I doubt a good lot of them will be answered. A lot of them are probably going to be saved for season 3. Maybe new people will show up in town. But you know, I thought of a question regarding that. For the most part, everyone we've seen, like every car we've seen drive into town, was either driving on like the countryside or literally driving in the woods, and then they show up here, they see the tree. So does it have to be like that? What happens if someone's just driving in the bustling city, surrounded by buildings, and then do they just suddenly transition into like a wilderness kind of aesthetic setting? And then they see the tree? Like, nobody really discussed that. Or did everyone drive in a pretty barren location before seeing the tree? Like, what happens if I'm if I'm stuck in gridlock? Can I just randomly appear here? Like, if I'm driving in a very busy road, do all the cars around me suddenly disappear? Do the buildings around me disappear? And then suddenly a fallen tree spawns in out of nowhere in front of me? And then I'm here? Or do I have to be, like, in the countryside, surrounded by a lot of open fields, and then, you know, the tree shows up? And you know what else? I'm kind of hoping that this show just hurry up and finishes. Clearly, season 3 has everything's not been resolved yet, so season 3 is not the end. Hopefully, season 4. If not season 4, then season 5. Sometime soon, the show will wrap up, because you don't want a show to overstay its welcome, right? Especially a show like this. Like, they have an idea in mind of what to do to get home now. Realistically, how long can the writers really extend this for? It's like, one season, okay, here's an idea that could get us home. Nope, didn't work. Here's another idea for the next season. Didn't work. Another idea for the next season. It's like, how long can the writers really make that last for? Until they call it time. Like, okay, let's finally just get these characters home and end the show. Because, you know, especially for a show like this, you don't want it to really overstay its welcome. You don't want it to drag on. Like, even if you're the biggest stan for this show, guzzling down, you know, this thing's sausage, even you have to admit, it's a pretty slow show. So the average viewer, the average watcher, it's not gonna be really for them. The average person watching shows isn't like me. Let's face it. The average person does not consume TV media as much as I do. So, you know, the average person who just got off of a 9 to 5 shift just wants to relax at home, just wants to watch something on TV. They're not going to be a big fan of this, given just how slow the show is. They're going to watch this show, they're going to be like, damn, this is boring as hell. Everyone's just talking, nothing's happening. I gotta be watching something exciting, something action-packed. I could be watching something that gets the heart pounding. I could be watching something like, I don't know, a Tom Cruise movie. So the average person ain't gonna watch this show and be too thrilled about it. And you know, if this show really does drag on for too long, even there are people now who, and I know some people, they see 11 seasons of The Walking Dead. They're overwhelmed by that sheer volume of content. They're going to be like, 11 seasons? That's a lot to watch. I don't have time to watch that. I'm just not going to start it at all. Bruh, if I was someone who came to this show, who started to watch this show long after it finished its airtime, and I saw 11 seasons, and I watched the first season, it is this boring and slow, I would have quit long ago. If it even gets to 11 seasons long. Like, the show I'm watching right now, if it reaches 11 seasons, my god. That's impressive and sad at the same time. Don't worry, One Piece is hyped and it's still ongoing. Well, that's different. You know, Pokemon is still going. It's different. You know, I assume One Piece is kind of structured like the Pokemon anime. Correct me if I'm wrong, I've never seen One Piece. I'm thinking in the sense of, like, the Pokemon anime is majority filler. The Pokemon anime has a bunch of one-off episodes where the plot line is really in that one episode. And you don't need to watch season to season to understand, right? I don't need to watch the Black and White series to understand the X and Y series. That kind of stuff. So it's different from, say, The Walking Dead, where, yes, you kind of need to watch the previous seasons. You cannot just start season 8 without watching the first 7 seasons, right? A particular person here would very much like to argue, yes, you can indeed just jump halfway into the show, because a certain someone here watched from starting in season 2. Wait, this isn't even the song I was thinking of. But yeah, I'm kind of hoping that the show will end soon. And when I mean soon, like a season or 2 or 3. I don't want the show to stay for too long just because, well, it just wouldn't work for a show like this. I mean, it could, if the writers did a good job at writing the show. That's debatable. So yeah, clearly season 3 ain't all the answers to this. So hopefully season 4 or 5 will, will be the end to the show. They will find a way to get home. Now, I feel like for a show like this, they would probably announce beforehand that this is the final season. They're not just gonna end the show abruptly. Like, just out of nowhere, okay, this season's building up to them finally finding answers and getting home. Is that really gonna be the case? It does happen, and then it's like, oh, the show's over now, with no warning. Anyways, there's the season 2 penultimate episode. You literally texted me an hour ago. Wow, an hour to the minute. An hour ago, like, you actually want to hear if I like the ending or not, because you did. I don't know. We'll have to see. So far, this season has been a significant upgrade from the first season. I'm trying to think, like, the past few episodes have been a pretty good streak of good episodes. W episodes. Just a non-stop combo of good episodes. So, like, it's definitely an upgrade from the season 1, where it was just a non-stop combo of bad episodes. Of slow-ass episodes where ain't shit happened. So it's definitely an upgrade from the first season. I'm trying to think, how would I rank this episode? Was this episode good or no? Whoops. I would not say it was better than the previous couple of episodes. It was definitely slow. Slower than the previous handful. And that alone is already quite an achievement, because this is a slow show to begin with. Trying to think. Anything else I missed? If not, let's move on. You know what actually is making me think? Perhaps they actually use real life cicadas. Maybe not for the scenes where they went into the people's mouths. What makes me think they may have actually used real life cicadas aside from the budget? I noticed that in the end credits, someone was listed with the job of something like animal coordinator. Just like animal coordinator. What animals were in the episode besides the cicadas? The only other time you've seen animals in the show is the dog that Boyd would randomly see in the woods. Unless you want to count, the chickens, the goats that they use for their livestock. Like, barely counts. So I don't know, I noticed in the credits someone was listed as animal coordinator. Ugh, whatever, I'm done with the show. I talked about the episode twice. Let's move on. So, had I not been muted for an hour straight, I would have talked about 2 Invincible episodes. Because I owed you a discussion from, Shiny Groudon cutting me off last time. And then I also watched episode 3 today, which is, at the moment, the most recently aired episode. So I was going to discuss 2 episodes of Invincible today. I think I'm just going to do 1. Shiny Rayquaza cut him off this time. You realize if this Shiny shows up, then there's no more episode for me to talk about, because we're done. Shiny Rayquaza is the last one we need. At least in terms of the original hunts. The unique hunts, I should say. So, whatever gets cut off, you're just not going to hear me talk about. Period. So you best hope this Rayquaza doesn't show up for quite a while. Not too long, though. Get Shiny type Null next? Nah. And it's evil? I literally did a year ago. More like a year and a half ago. I literally did. I hunted type Null twice. Last year. Alright, let's talk about Invincible. So, I have Invincible episode 2 of season 3 to talk about. I would have talked about this last time until Groudon cut me off. So episode 1 of season 3 ended off where, Mark was in the White Room with Cecil, and then a bunch of Reanimen showed up. This episode, we begin with a flashback. We get a flashback to a young Cecil, and how he started off. We see Cecil, he was just a young GDA agent. He was doing some sort of mission. It almost looked like he was at the, It almost looked like he was at the Los Angeles beach. I don't know the name of it, so I'm just thinking of the Los Santos beach in GTA 5. So he goes into this clothing store, tells everyone to get out. He goes to the back, and there's this poison gas machine thing that he needs to stop. Well, the lady working at the desk turns out to be the person behind it. I forget what she calls herself, the Flying Fist or something like that. I gotta say, too, damn, she kind of bad though, with all that cleavage especially. Anyway, so Cecil fights her, and then Another guy shows up with like the same getup. These two set off the machine. They basically get everything off of them melted. Cecil tries to stop it. So then, a lot of his body gets melted off. Lucky for Cecil, the GDA has like skin graft machines. And then we get the origin to Cecil's scar on his face. He actually asked for it not to be repaired as a reminder that he messed up because like 17 people died because of it. And then the flashback continues. The former head of the GDA, the former director, I think they were under attack, and then same thing. He rehabilitated the two criminals that Cecil went up against in the beginning. The previous director said exactly the same thing that Mark is saying now. They're criminals. They deserve to be in jail. They can't be rehabilitated. So what does Cecil do? He just shoots them both point blank in the head, taking them both out. And then Cecil gets thrown in jail because of it. Well, it seems like Cecil's not going to survive in jail because there's a lot of dangerous criminals in there with powers. He ends up in a cell next to like a giant sumo wrestler version of a Mauler twin. I don't know, it looked like that to me. I assume a couple years have passed. Well, the previous director, I forget his name. The previous director comes back and says that he's leaving the position and wants Cecil to take over. Cecil declines. And then that previous director utters the exact same words that we will hear Cecil say. You can either be the good guys or the guys who save the world. You can't be both. Well, Cecil takes up the position, and immediately nobody likes him. Well, let's not bother waiting later to say this. Later in the episode, we cut back to the flashback where Cecil meets Nolan for the first time. Nolan showed up on Earth for the first time. The GDA are on it. Cecil goes to speak to this very strong person in person. So Cecil meets Nolan for the first time, and immediately Cecil's able to pick up the fact that Nolan's lying. Nolan said that his government sent him to protect the planet. Yeah, right. Cecil immediately picked up that's bullshit. So Cecil's immediate orders were to start a file on him, try to find countermeasures. Damn. Alright, now back to the present day stuff. So, this episode was really good. This episode kind of plays on the whole black and white morality thing, when I feel like in reality, this episode really has a lot of gray areas. And I'll tell you my stance in a moment. So Cecil, back in the White Room, is trying to warn Mark. It's like, Cecil, everything that Mark is saying right now, Cecil was in the exact same position. The GDA rehabilitated and reformed criminals, because you just don't waste people with their quote-unquote skills and talents, especially how dangerous the world is. But Mark doesn't see it that way. Mark is like, they are criminals and they need to be locked up, no matter what. So Cecil, knowing that Mark is the most powerful being on the planet, needs to restrain him in case. So that high-pitched frequency sound that monster made when Mark was fighting it in Atlantis, Cecil copied it and is able to use that to basically, put Mark in his place. Mark fights off a bunch of Reanimen. Turns out there's more. But then Cecil turns out that he implanted something into Mark's head while Mark was unconscious and under, GDA medical care. they implanted something in his head that emits the high-frequency sound that really hurts Viltrumites. So Mark flies away. Cecil follows. Mark flies over to Guardian headquarters, trying to get Robot to cut this thing out. Well, long story short, the rest of the Guardians of the Globe, they kind of turn on Cecil, especially when Cecil sends a whole bunch of Reanimen to fight off Mark. Like, beat him down while he's still incapacitated with the sound. Well, after the fight's over and the sound has stopped, Mark says he's done with Cecil. He'll never work for him again, and if he ever comes near his family, he'll kill him. Has anyone else picked up on the fact that Mark has changed ever since he killed Angstrom Levy? Mark is more open to threats now, he's more open to killing now, even if he doesn't want to do it. Like, if he has to, he will. He doesn't want to, he doesn't like to, but he will if he has to. Kinda like how for Multi-Paul, he killed off a bunch of them, despite being clones. But still, Mark never would have done that before he killed Angstrom Levy. And there's no way Mark would have threatened Cecil's life if he didn't do that. So this little, like, ripple in their relationship caused the Guardians of the Globe to basically split off. Characters such as Invincible, Black Samson, Shapesmith, Duplicate, they stay back. They stay as Guardians. Characters like Rexplode, Shrinking Ray, Rudy, Monster Girl, Bulletproof, they all decide, nah, we can't work for someone we can't trust. Because if Cecil did that to Mark, to Invincible, what is he willing to do to us? So, let me tell you my stance on this. I agree with Cecil. I side with Cecil. Not entirely, though. Like, I understand. He has to make the hard decisions to protect the world. Especially when there are goddamn Viltrumite threats on the way. And God forbid Cecil found out that, you know, Angstrom Levy revealed majority of other universes out there, Mark did go evil. You know, Cecil should count his blessings that he lives in one of the few universes Mark is good. So, you know, I agree with Cecil. If Mark ever went bad, he needs a contingency plan. Because if not, well, there's not a whole lot that he can do besides really spread his cheeks and just accept it. It's not even kinda, it is essentially Batman's Babel Protocol, or as Cisco pronounced it, Babel Protocol. Because it makes sense. I side with these men's decisions, Batman and Cecil. The Justice League and Invincible, they are the strongest beings on the planet. If they were to ever go bad, via brainwashing, mind control, whatever, you need a contingency plan. The world has nothing against an evil Superman. So you need a contingency plan. If Mark ever went bad, you need some sort of plan to stop him. So I agree with Cecil to having a contingency plan. I disagree with him, however, on the way he executed it. Because he didn't need to threaten Mark like that in this episode. And also, wouldn't it be smarter for Cecil to just simply try to de-escalate things with Mark quietly and calmly, instead of just jumping to conclusions? Like, Mark went over to the GDA, demanded Cecil lock up D.A. Sinclair and Darkwing 2. Cecil should have been like, Mark, let's sit down and have a nice, calm discussion. That's it! That's all he needed to do. Just sit down and have a calm discussion. Cecil didn't need to lure him into the White Room and threaten him with Reanimen and then non-stop use that high-frequency weapon implanted in his head. He didn't need to do that. And look what happened. Look what happened because of that. So Cecil really did not need to take it that far. Yes, Cecil took it too far, but I agree with his reasons for needing some sort of backup plan, some sort of thing that could stop Mark in case of anything. So, you know, Cecil took it too far. And shame on Cecil, he should have known better too. Because the flashbacks showed that Cecil thought exactly like Mark did. He doesn't work with criminals. Criminals need to be locked up. That kind of stuff. Cecil was in the exact same position, so Cecil should have known better than anyone how to convince someone, like, the way you're thinking is wrong. We need assets like this, even if they are criminals, even if they have done bad things. We need them. Cecil really should have done better. But anyways. So yeah, it was a lot of gray areas. So I also agree with the Guardians of the Globe for leaving the team. While I understand and borderline agree with Cecil needing contingency plans, I also agree with the Guardians, like, if he was willing to do all that, what is he willing to do to us, to me, if I ever disobeyed or whatever? No, I'm out of here. I can't work for a man like that. So I agree on both sides. Cecil took it too far, and I agree the Guardians for leaving because of it. Now I'm trying to think, what happened in episode 2? Because I watched episode 3 today, and that's all I can think about. So what happened in episode 2? All I can think about is episode 3. I don't remember anything that happened in season 2. In episode 2 anymore. What happened in episode 2? How long has this been tilted? Well, the only other things I can remember about episode 2, Debbie goes on the date with Paul. Okay. End of the episode. Mark and Eve finally truly hook up and become an item. Good for them. I'm thinking, what else happened in episode 2? I can't think of anything anymore. All I can think about is episode 3, since I watched that earlier today. The Guardians who left the team, they have a new spot, like a new headquarters. It's kind of dirty, since I believe Rexplode was there. I think Rudy owns it, but it is still pretty dirty. They are heavily pushing Rex and shrinking Ray to hook up. And you know what? I can see it. Why not? Oh, wait, was this in episode 2? Yeah, I think it was episode 2. So because the Guardians are in their new headquarters, you know, they're getting accustomed to home. First of all, Rudy's like, he has some sort of new invention that he's not ready to disclose yet. Eve shows up out of nowhere, thinking that she wants to move back home. But then Rex is like, oh really? Are you sure it's not just to get closer to Mark? Just to live closer to Mark? I gotta tell you, Rex is taking it really good. He's taking it like a champ. His ex ending up with his friend. Rex is taking it so well. You know what? That's a W friend right there. I can only hope that if I'm ever in that position, like for whatever reason I end up with one of my friend's ex, that he too would be like as chill as Rex is. But then again, like that's ever gonna happen, right? So yeah, it's kind of surprising, you know? The fact that Rex is taking it so well. I like that. He's being a mature adult, given just how immature he is. I like that. And you know what? You just gotta love Rexplode. Like, damn. It's a guy I would love to hang with. He was an ass when we first met him in Season 1, undeniably, but over time, he's really grown and changed as a character. It's like, yeah, this is a great guy now. You would love to go and have a drink with him. You'd love to go party with him. It's an awesome guy. Changing for the better, and you love to see it. I'm trying to think. I don't remember anything else that happened in episode 2. Ugh. Love this song? Yeah, I recently remembered it even exists. If I remembered sooner, I would have used it sooner. Memories of school. Yup, you should have been here yesterday when I was trying to find the name of the song. Have you watched Invincible yet? Since, you know, you were the one who showed me the show to begin with. No? Oh. Don't you just find it amazing that, you know, by the time you showed me the first episode, it's been out for quite a while and I did not know anything about it. I didn't get anything spoiled about it. So when I saw the end of the first episode, I was in absolute shock. I somehow was able to avoid it all that time. I remember playing God of War 2018 in 2020 and I knew nothing about it. I don't know anything about it now. The last time I saw God of War show up, Kratos showed up for some random reason in the final episode of Secret Level. He literally just came out of nowhere and that's it. You should play it on stream. I mean, I could, but where do I start? I never played a single God of War. Shouldn't I start from the beginning? Like, I know, what was the game's name? Ragnarok? Well, I know that was a big deal when it came out, but because I didn't play a single God of War, yeah, 2018 is a pretty good jumping on point, if you say so. But yeah, he just randomly showed up out of nowhere halfway into that episode. Why did looking up God War Ragnarok instantly give me Ragnarok? Give me the name of the game. Let's see, God of War 2018. At this point, 2018 was 7 years ago. How crazy is that? It has a 4.8 out of 5 rating. If you really want, watch a review of God of War 1 to 3 since 2018 is technically God of War 4. Huh. Well, let's see. Despite it being... It's just about to hit midnight. I should probably turn off soon. I need to edit the two parts together. The hour of silence with this. And then because what fun is an hour of silence, I should probably edit in some background music just to fill in the hour of silence. Wouldn't be the first time I've had to do that. Okay, one more reset and then I'll call it for tonight. Ugh, an hour of silence. Alright, no shiny Rayquaza tonight. Damn, that hour really killing you, huh? Well, how would you feel, huh? An hour of you talking, and turns out none of it was picked up. Alright, last one for real. I gotta go edit that stuff together. Nope. Alright, see you next time. Hopefully the audio will work next time, too.